Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. So, guys, I wanted to share with you because so many are not exposed over here in our Western culture to the Mahabharata, the Bhagavad Gita, and to the sayings of Krishna. So many are familiar with the sayings of Christ, but they are not familiar with the sayings of Krishna. And this beautiful book and amazing epic. And yet, when I first read it, it actually gave me tears and it made me feel like this is the same heart as the heart of Christ. You know, it's the same energy, it's the same beautiful love, and most don't even have a clue as to what is here. So, Krishna is the eighth avatar of Lord Vishnu, delivered the Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield to Arjuna when he was reluctant to kill his own kin. And so Krishna represents love, wisdom, intellect, and 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita contain a vast sea of knowledge. It gives the message to keep doing our duty without worrying about the result. And this covers many different things. So here's 25 quotes that we could take in many ways and we could actually apply to our lives. So you see here, there are 3 gates to the self-destructive hell: lust, anger, and greed. And it is self-destructive when we wallow in these things. And I did a video yesterday on EEARTS, and just talking about the machine and talking about what we are faced against. And there's a video going up on Patreon today that's a definite hard hitter and very clear and forthright. And so it's something I can't put on YouTube. Talking about exactly who this is that we're fighting in so many ways, and how this war is really ongoing. And so one person made the comment about, why aren't you pissed? Why aren't you mad? Why aren't you, calling for heads to roll and things like that? And because I understand this, I know we need change, but these are self-destructive emotions, and one of them is anger. And so we're going to feel anger. It's going to well up. It's going to well up from time to time, but we can't let it control us. These emotions can completely control us, and they could bring us to our own self-destructive end. And not only here, but they will affect us in the afterlife too, as we take our deeds, if you believe in karma or the law of cause and effect. Or you could view it as divine justice, for what you sow, you're going to reap. So we must not be controlled by anger. We recognize that the powers that be are controlled by greed and their lust for power. And it does feel like they're angry at the earth at times, for sure, and all those that dwell within with their actions. Actions do not cling to me because I am not attached to their results. Those who understand this and practice it live in freedom. Often we think we know what we want, and often we think we understand, perhaps more than we do at the time. And often, we might ask for something to come and something to happen, and it doesn't, whether it's a perfect relationship, whether it's a promotion, whether it's a better house, whether it's better financial circumstances. Whatever it is, maybe it's even overcoming an illness or chronic pain. A lot of times these things are there for a purpose because we haven't corrected our action. We haven't found our way. And so we can't be so caught up in expecting one particular outcome. That doesn't mean we can't reprogram ourselves or try to reprogram our DNA in a more positive way. But when we're so attached to one particular outcome, we're really living in bondage to that outcome. So when we have this detachment, it does create a kind of freedom that is hard to understand. We understand if we can understand the bigger picture, and in my point of view, I feel for sure that I've lived before. I think that, we are really eternal beings, just simply having a temporary 3D experience right now. And so when we look at the bigger picture like that, perhaps we won't be so attached to any particular outcome which might bind us into a circumstance where we're no longer living free. And so if it is not those who lack energy or refrain from action, but those who work without expectation of reward attain the goal of meditation. So too often when we focus on trying to do one thing, honestly, when I first started meditating, I was just all about trying to get out of the body. I just wanted to have an out-of-body experience. I wanted to astral project. And at first I was just focused on that. But the way things were to go for me, the first big experience I had was starting to sense energy. And it really happened when I was awakened one night and I saw my sacral chakra all of a sudden start to spin. It was like flopping, kind of like a fish almost. It looks, the chakras look like tornadoes, and this looked like when the water is going down a drain, how it kind of spins down like a funnel, and then at the end it starts getting all wonky and like almost going to go on its side. Well, that's how my chakra was, and all of a sudden it straightened up and spun strong, and it was a blockage in my sacral chakra that was inhibiting the energy flow in me. And then once that changed, I started to sense energy everywhere, and I was able to move energy through the main meridians. And so it wasn't the goal that I had in mind. And if I kept focusing on that one goal, I might have missed, the things that were going to be blessings for me, which ultimately, led to understanding that I could do really amazing things with energy work. And I was very, very energy sensitive. And it's never been the easiest thing for me to pop out of body, going back through the years of meditation, which I've meditated for about 30 years. That's never been the thing that's so easy for me. And I'll ask Cindy a lot of times, because she's more gifted in some ways, what do you see? Because she could see things quicker and clearer than me. But I understand that my gift now is the ability to move energy and move healing energy, often is the case. So again, expectations. We might be expecting one thing, but our blessing might be somewhere else. Set your heart upon your work, but never its reward. And again, it's the same thing like with the channel right now, just to give you our experience. Right now, we're going through tough times because they have been demonetizing everything and also, bringing the views down. And yet, I see, because there's other venues where I'm putting videos and I see, it taking off and blossoming very quickly. And I know just from the amount of emails and everything I get that there's still a ton of people out there seeing these videos. So if they show 5,000 views, I know they're 15 to 20,000. They just are not paying me for it. And that's how they are waging their war. But we must set our heart upon our work, because I am here to, basically try to spread truth and help to bring in a change in this world. That's why I came here. I've known it since I was a kid. And so I have a mission. So whether it's, financial abundance ever happens or not, that doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And it doesn't matter at all, because it's about the work. And whatever it is, and having that faith that you'll be taken care of, because we have been taken care of. We've been blessed, so, luckily we have family to stay with. And it's been the biggest blessing, because family can be a beautiful blessing. And we get to enjoy kids and grandkids and just, the energy, and it's wonderful. So it's all about the work, not about the reward. When a person responds to the joys and sorrows of others as if they were his own, he has attained the highest state of spiritual union, because we see the God that lies within each. We see ourselves in the other, and there is the next era, the next age that's going to come upon this planet. As the planet is going through ascension, it's going to become heart-centered instead of solar plexus-centered. And so it's going to stop to be so much about I, me, and more about we, us, unity. And it all starts with love and compassion. And that is truly a spiritual union. No one who does good work will ever come to a bad end, either here or in the world to come. And so again, that gets back to doing our duty. Think about the people that have been slaughtered in these different wars, in these wars against truth, these wars against, sharing knowledge of how things are going on the planet and how we could change things. The dark energies will do what they can, and they silence people. We know people have been silenced, for doing beautiful acts and trying to help the masses. But, payment for that is on the other side. How many martyrs have there been that fearlessly have gone straight to their death? And, they wouldn't waver even the whole way unto the last moment. Calmness, gentleness, silence, self-restraint, and purity. These are the disciplines of the mind. So these are the things to cultivate. So we don't get riled up. So we don't get controlled by our hormones, whether it's testosterone driven, and anger driven, rage driven, when we see things going on around us. Self-restraint. These are the things to cultivate. They will lead to an inner peace, which does lead to freedom. He who has no attachments can really love others, for his love is pure and divine, and that is beautiful as well. Truly, truly, if you have attachments to things, or even to possessing people, possessing items, how can you really love? There's no love in possession. Love has to be free. And pure love most truly is divine. Do everything you have to do, but not with greed, not with ego, not with lust, not with envy, but with love, compassion, humility, and devotion. Another beautiful saying there. No one should abandon duties because he sees defects in them. Every action, every activity is surrounded by defects as a fire is surrounded by smoke. It's just the world that we live in. And obviously this is an imperfect world, but that's why this is the perfect opportunity to learn, because we learn from our imperfections and we keep moving forward. When a person is devoted to something with complete faith, I unify his faith in that. Then, when his faith is completely unified, he gains the object of his devotion. It's only truly when we become one with something that it truly becomes ours. So again, emulate that which you want to be. And, there's a saying like, fake it till you make it. There is a lot of validity in that. And devotion runs deep. It's not something that can be swayed. It doesn't mean a blind faith in what others are telling you either. You have to find your own truth, and that only comes from within. For one who have conquered his mind is best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, mind is the greatest enemy. Oh yeah, and again, this is in letting our mind roam. 80 to 90% of our thoughts are just the same thing every single day. So how many of those thoughts are not your friend? How many of those thoughts are keeping you from succeeding in something? How many of those thoughts are keeping you from finding peace and tranquility? How many of those thoughts are fear-provoking? And how many of them are keeping you in a lower emotional vibration and frequency? Perform your obligatory duty, because action is indeed better than inaction. How many times do we just sit there thinking about, well, if I could, or making up excuses for ourselves, about our situation, that we can't do this, we can't do that. Sometimes, again, our mind can be our enemy in that sense. And we must do what we came here to do. And trying to find our particular course can be one of the hardest things because of the brainwashing we receive as a society. But again, you must go within to find that. Why do you worry unnecessarily? Whom do you fear? Who can kill you? The soul is neither born nor dies. And there again, can you see the parallels there with biblical scripture? About why do you worry about your daily bread, for instance? Are the birds and the bees and everything, are they worried? Do you think they are worried? Again, know will be provided for. Know that we are eternal, and whatever happens to the body, it's just the body. This is basically a garment that you are wearing. Whatever happens was good. What's happening, it's going well. Whatever will happen will also be good. Do not worry for the future. Live in the present, because when we're worrying, we're not in the present at all. Eckhart Tolle talks a ton about this. And he talks about, what's your purpose? Well, to be here in the present, to be present, to be aware, to be experiencing, because you are the observer. You're the observer. You're watching yourself in so many ways. Recognize that. Envision watching yourself going about doing things. Know that, I am not the body. I am something much more than the body. And so enjoy the present moment instead of fearing what tomorrow will bring. What do you got that you cry? What did you produce which has been destroyed? Whatever it is there, you receive from here. Whatever you'll give will stay here. So in other words, this is also talking about the law of cause and effect and karma, and how we have to recognize the bigger picture. If we did recognize the bigger picture, if you knew that when you die, boom, you're still going to be there. Your body's gone, but you're still there. But everything you thought, felt, and did is still with you, because it's propelling you forward. It's propelling you into your next state of being, the next circumstances that you will find yourself in. If you knew that, how would you act differently? If you knew there was nothing to fear about losing the body, but most definitely our actions are something to be concerned with, our vibrations, and where we are mentally, emotionally, and physically, and what we do. So when meditation is mastered, the mind is unwavering like the flame of a lamp in a windless place. And then you have peace, and then you have that calmness and that tranquility, and then you recognize the truth of the situation and who you really are. And then it becomes very easy to stay calm in the eye of the storm. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So again, right cause, there's so many Buddhist principles that you might be familiar with as well. The Eightfold Path, things like right livelihood, doing the right thing as far as the way we make our money. The monetary situation, unfortunately, in this world is what it is. But again, we have to make the best of it. And we're here to create positive change. Recognize as well that every action that we do does cause a reaction, and always hold the highest possibility in your mind and heart. The mind is fickle. It won't obey you. Every time the mind misbehaves, use your discretionary intellect to bring it back to the equanimous position. And when we're meditating as well, don't get frustrated. Allow these thoughts to come in. Great technique. Take a thought and just, see it as a flowing river. Put that thought into a boat. Watch it disappear down the river. Just acknowledge it. Let it go. And bring your mind back to center. Same thing when issues arise in our life. Something happens. Could be something very, very disconcerting. You're going to feel emotions about it. But get back to that point of equanimity, that point of peace and balance. Each man is a mixture of all the three tendencies: divinely noble, vibrantly restless, and indolently dull. The wise man transcends all these three qualities. The ego, in most cases, rules most of us. Most people on this planet are ruled by their ego, which is a false persona that develops over time through conditioning, through conditioned response, through circumstances, through everybody that we come in contact with. And we all have different qualities to us. Some amazingly beautiful and some not so. It's all about, what do you cultivate? What do you cultivate? Do not let the negative overtake you. Do not let the seeds of things like lust, anger, and greed grow rampantly in you. Obviously, the wise man's the one that can recognize these things and can transcend them. It is better to perform one's own duties imperfectly than to master the duties of another. We each have a unique purpose. We each are a unique spark of divinity. And so, one of the things is obviously being non-judgmental. And, there's great biblical verses on that. Like, why take the speck out of your brother's eye when there's a plank in yours? Likewise, not everybody has the same path. We might think we want to have a certain path, but perhaps it's not up to us. Not all of us are going to become world leaders. Not all of us are going to become, the next great athlete. But yet we could each contribute in our own way to the world and the beauty of the world. Fear not what is not real, never was and never will be. What is real always was and cannot be destroyed. Again, we live in so often repetitive thoughts that just keep coming up in our mind. We live in the future, we live in the past. We're thinking about what could happen, we're thinking about what has happened. Instead of just enjoying what's here right now. If you're right next to the person that you love, take a deep look into their eyes and just see the divinity that's in them. And enjoy that. Enjoy the little things. Take time for the little things too. Push the world aside often and just be. Man is made by his belief. As he believes, so he is. And this is, again, something as well that pre-predictive programming, negative thought forms, we have to be so aware of this. If we are expecting horrible, destructive ends to us all, more than likely that is what we are going to manifest. Doesn't mean we have to have our head in the sand. We recognize we're in a spiritual war and a big battle, but at the same time, we are our beliefs, and our beliefs are conditioning us. Now, there are also those that want to just shut out everything that's happening around them and lead lives of blissful ignorance. And if you're able to do that and live your purpose, then it's a beautiful thing for you. But everybody has a different purpose. And so recognize how our beliefs can be limiting as well as uplifting. Happiness is a state of mind that has nothing to do with the external world. No matter what's going on outside, we can always be happy within. It's a choice. It's a simple choice. And we can always look for the good in every situation. Change is the law of the world. In a moment, you become the owner of millions. In the other, you become penniless. It's so true. Everything is constantly in flux. Nothing stays put. So everything does evolve. Everything changes. Everything ebbs and flows. So we must realize that we might be poor, and then we might become millionaires, and we might lose it all again. We have to be okay with the change that is in the world. So, my friends, be the change you want to be. And as always, my friends, join us on Patreon if you feel so inclined. Support the channel. And then also, if so inclined, go ahead and join us on Ko-Fi as well. We are so thankful for your support. And make sure you're subscribed to both channels, EEARTS, with the bell clicked for all notifications, as well as Evolutionary Energy Arts. So I look forward to your comments, my friends. May you be blessed with abundant peace, love, health, happiness, wellness, and all good things. God bless and namaste.